Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fabulous ChatBox production business breakfast show. It's the 5th of August and 8 a.m. here in the UK. As always, joined by my lovely co-presenter, Mr. David Bell. How are you?
Good morning, Nick. I am very well. I'm just doing the final settings, tweaking out the final bits, because we're streaming not just to Facebook, not just to YouTube, but also on LinkedIn Live. And I just need to make sure all the techie bits work, because otherwise, Nick, you blame me for when things go wrong. So it's good. We are streaming everywhere.
Quite rightly so. Quite rightly so. You are the buttons man.
Absolutely.
So yeah, while you click those buttons, share those feeds, and make sure we are looking smart across all channels, all platforms. Let's hope we don't get into trouble like we did last week. No doubt we'll talk about that. I think good trouble though, right? We create good trouble. That's the beauty of healthy conversations.
Yeah, we did kind of mix it up a little bit last week. We were talking a lot about the Olympics. I mean, it's the thing that's been spoken about by everybody at the moment. So we thought we'd show some clips, some winners, some things that happen at the Olympics. They didn't like us, Nick. They said no. They banned us. What they did is they put a big copyright splat across our 7 seconds of broadcast, which was, I understand. But come on, we're promoting the greatness of people around the world and the things that they're doing. But there you go. So this week, unfortunately, guys, there is no video from the Olympics. Actually, we're not even going to talk about the Olympics. Well, there's just one story which kind of spurred this on, Nick. You dug out of the archives Elaine Thompson Heller, who won gold, a double gold, 100 meters and 200 meters.
Yeah, phenomenal, mate. Phenomenal.
I mean, she's done excellent. She's done great. Double
speedy woman, the double, right? Which is, I don't know, that's just phenomenal. And quite rightly so. She wanted to share the joy and posted some footage. Not sure where she got it from. Posted some footage of her winning the races on her Instagram feed, owned by Facebook. So what do? They banned it.
Yeah, just like that. Go on. This is someone that has done the unbelievable. And all she wants to do is share the joy with everybody and celebrate. And no, they didn't like it. And the thing was, it was even her race. She's the one in the image, in the footage. But anyway, not her footage. Into this. Thanks for your support. That's all I can say, for us and business owners. And Elaine Thompson Heller is very happy with you as well. Anyway, moving on from the Olympics. It's been a great couple of weeks, but let's move on. We don't like him anymore.
Yeah, don't break copyright, kids.
Yeah, you get in trouble. You'll get in trouble. You'll get your hand slapped. So what else is happening, Nick? I did know that you did a bit of reporting, and this was something that you have a story to tell us about.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Petrol prices are at an 8-year high, right? How ironic's this, right? I remember in lockdown, petrol prices went down to less than £1 a litre. Thinking, ooh, that's good, but you got nowhere to go. And I'd filled my car up before lockdown had happened. Right? So the car's sitting on the drive, going nowhere, but full of cheap fuel. Right? And now, of course, we've got places to go, and we're allowed out, and the prices are going sky. That's kicking the teeth, mate, kicking the teeth. So the average price in the UK at present for your fuel, for your unleaded, £1.35 a litre. Right? Now, you and I remember back in the day, you used to fill up at the petrol station, and it used to be in gallons.
Right? I only remember it in litres. I'm not that old.
I remember my dad filling up at the petrol station, and it was in gallons. Right, back in the old day, we used to work in gallons, and you'd pull up to the petrol pump, and it would be so much a gallon. Right, if we were still working in gallons, right, how much are £1.35 per litre? How much per gallon do you reckon that is?
So I think it's something like you do about 5 times 5.1, 5.2. I think it's the conversion rate. I don't know if we're talking, I don't know, 6.50, somewhere around that figure.
You're a smart fellow. £6.14. Wow. Right, £6.14. If you pulled up to the petrol station and say, yeah, it's £6, over £6, Nick, you'd think twice, wouldn't you? You'd jump on one of those funky scooters that are on every curbside.
I am thinking though, Nick, I've got to buy myself a new vehicle, and I'm very interested in getting an electric vehicle. And actually, I went out a couple of weeks ago with someone, a friend of the show, who had been on the show, and he said, "Jump in my car, I'll take you for a ride." Electric car. Wow, my God, this wasn't no Tesla, by the way, but whoa, it was like a rocket ship. I like a sporty car, and I was thinking, yeah, come on, what's this going to do? Honestly, it was no milk float. It absolutely shot out of the blocks. And I was pinned back in the chair. So I'm very interested. So if anyone wants to give us any recommendations on what electric vehicle that I can go out and buy as when the new plates come out in September, please let me know. I'll be interested on your feedback.
We'd expect big discount, right? Because we'll give you a shout out on the show. Okay, we're not proud. Right, give David a real bargain on his new electric car, and we'll probably mention you on the show more than once.
I will do the show from the car. How about that? That's what I will do. Good morning to James O'Rourke. Morning, guys. Here's a tweet from Yorkshire Tea, making sure they play it safe and don't upset the Olympics. I'll have a look at that, where I assume, James, they're obviously being very good and not doing what Nick and I do, which is... quite often, obviously, we end up breaking rules. But I always say rules are there to be broken. Is that not correct? I don't know. But thank you for that, James. If anyone else has got any shout-outs you want to pop up on the screen for Nick and I to mention, then please do. Tell us about what's happening in your business this week, what's been a success, what challenges lie forth. We do have two great guests joining us very shortly as well, Nick.
Oh, amazing guests, mate. We're so lucky on this show that we have brilliant guests every week. And every week I'm saying, oh my God, this week they're amazing. And this week they are amazing.
We've gone global. We were streaming around the world, but this week, we've got two guests. I'm not going to spoil it, burst that bubble, but we've got an amazing guest joining us from the USA, who will be on very shortly, just after 10 past the hour. And then after that, just after half past the hour this morning, we have our other guest who's tuning in all the way from South Africa, Cape Town. So it's a true global audience this week.
Loving the global aspect of these conversations. And one of the good things about technology, right? It makes the world much smaller if you want to have conversations across borders. When was the last time, right? When was the last time you had a handwritten letter that came through your letterbox? Right? That used to be the thing, right? Used to be the thing.
I don't receive any handwritten letters. I receive letters, and I try to get rid of them very quickly, but they're all bills and invoices. But no, I can't remember the last time I got. No, I can. I think the last one I was sent was a thank you card, and that was handwritten.
That's a nice thought, right?
Yeah.
If you've done something with some business transaction has gone really well, right? Handwrite a card and pop it in the post. Say thanks very much. So the impact, ridiculous. You could send 1,000 emails saying thank you very much, right? Zero impact. You send one handwritten card, stick it in the post. Okay, eventually it'll arrive. Massive impact. Give that a go.
Yeah, send one to me and Nick if you like our show, saying thank you. And if you want to turn it into a lumpy mail, put something tangible in the envelope. That's always much appreciated as well. Send it in. Fan mail is always accepted.
That used to be a thing as well, right? You used to see pictures of people opening post bags full of mail, tipping it out. Here's all the fan mail. Yeah. And now it's, I got 1,000 emails. And it means so it's so different. It means little.
Yeah, absolutely. I must mention GC Associates. Thank you. I've got to get this around the right way. Look, thank you for our new T-shirts. There we go. Look, we have now ChatBox T-shirts. Thank you very much for that. I've paid your invoice. The money has been wired to you for putting together. Nick, your T-shirts, we're meeting up today, so I'll hand them over. Next week, we will both be... got the mug. Next week, we will both be in ChatBox attire delivering the show. We are pushing out where we're giving away free T-shirts in the future on the show for good comments and feedback, free mugs and cups. Come on, we're gonna do the BBC Storm Saturday morning breakfast show where we just throw things away like it's confetti. Watch out.
We haven't talked about this, mate. We've not talked about throwing away stuff like confetti.
Well, I didn't mean throwing it away, giving it away, obviously for good feedback and for regular viewers and stuff like that, who can support us and take us on our journey. So yes, thank you, Richard Pryor from GC Associates, for providing our merchandise. We'll be in touch when we need lots more T-shirts and stuff like that.
Won't be long by the sound of it. We're going to be throwing them around, giving them away.
Well, yeah, they'll be like confetti here, there, everywhere. Right, Nick, it's 10 past the hour. That's the time we always like to bring our first guest onto the show, because this morning, as I say, we've got two fantastic guests. It's going to be one whirlwind of a show from here on in. The fun now begins. But what I want to do is I want to play a little intro video, and we'll talk a little bit more about it afterwards, and then we're going to bring our guest in, and we're going to have some fantastic conversation. So let's see our first guest in action. Things which works probably why the synergy works so well, because we come from different angles, technology versus humanization.
Yeah. Oh man, what a shitstorm.
I think it's the most prep I've ever done for a show. So many questions.
What sort of point of view? I mean, how long were you undiagnosed, and I mean, how did you learn to deal with dyslexia?
I didn't get diagnosed until I was working in advertising. I did get held down a whole year at school, which was very painful.
I mean, Tesla was around before Elon Musk, but obviously he provided most of the funding, right? So
absolutely. So he kind of came around and picked up a garage mentality and brought it into, let's say, the passing lane. I think
so to have that and to have the science behind that, it just justifies what we're doing, and it just gives it that full stop that we finally got.
What the agency is effectively saying is, we believe we can do your job, but much better and more effectively.
Making tea. Hello, love.
Here we go, Nick. Let's welcome our first guest to the show this morning, Mr. Keith Smith. Welcome to the show, Keith. Let's get you centre stage. You deserve it more than Nick and I. Welcome from all over from the US of A.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Doing great, mate. Doing great. Now, a massive thanks for coming on the show. We'll talk about who you are, what you do, how we met, all of that stuff. But huge thanks, because it's 8 o'clock in the morning for us, standard kind of get up and get to work time. It's not 8 in the morning for you, is it, mate?
No, it's just gone 3. It's 12 minutes after 3 o'clock in the morning, and I've been up for 2 hours.
And I did ask you, didn't I, Keith, when you turned up here in the virtual studio this morning, I said, Keith, was it a late night, or is it a late night, or is it an early morning? You went, no, I've been to bed. I've got up and I've had coffee, and you've done some other things. What else have you been doing this morning? You said you had a bit of a tour.
Yeah, I took a trip outside, because it's always nice first thing in the morning to get up when nobody else is up, and just go stand outside and sort of hear the sounds, because we've this time of year in the US, we've got cicadas everywhere, and you just hear the cicadas going and stuff like that. But I was looking skyward for the is it the Perseid meteor? I don't know how they pronounce it, but Perseid meteors flying across the sky, but didn't see one. But I did see a jet plane, so that's good.
There you go. That's a good start to the morning. You saw a jet plane. You have quite a few of those flying over the skies of the USA, so I'm glad you saw one.
Yeah, especially where we are, because I'm on the sort of part of the approach path for Indianapolis Airport, the Great Indianapolis, Indiana, USA.
Have you been to the Indy 500?
Oh, I have.
Oh, fabulous!
Been a couple of times. My wife took me on my birthday to the 500, and then a friend of ours took us to see the NASCAR race. Which is awesome. All car racing is awesome. But I'd like to see the electric car racing. That would be, but very quiet. I can imagine that would be very quiet.
It's bloody boring as well. I went to Battersea when they first launched. I tell you what, it is like watching milk carts go around a track. All you hear is this, and there's no excitement. I don't know. Look, I like Formula One. I love a bit of NASCAR and Indy and stuff like that. But watching milk carts race, boring stuff. Anyway,
There goes your big discount, mate, on your electric vehicle.
Oh God, yeah, forgot about that. No, they're great. Honestly, they're brilliant.
What a shame. So, Keith, thank you very much for joining us at this very early hour, and thank you very much for having us on your amazing podcast. Podcast one half, I guess, of what you do. Tell us a bit about yourself. What is it you get up to?
Well, I am. My official job title is I'm managing director of the Advertist, which is a new business platform for marketing, PR, digital advertising agencies to help them sort of find their next new client. So that's the sort of the official job, and then the other 2 days of the week, the weekends, are filled editing podcasts, because we launched the Fuel podcast just 18 months ago now, just at the start of the pandemic and lockdown, and it's taken off. It's become a surprising hit. It's been one of those things that's been really kind of like sort of warmly welcomed by the new business industry, by the advertising industry, and the PR industry. So yeah, we're kind of we're very happy. But as I say, that's like it's 7 days a week now. We're working. So we need a break at some point.
What an awesome podcast it is. Here it is, the Fuel podcast. Won't leave it up too long because we're covering you up, Keith, but it's actually quite a good replacement, that. Almost engineered that image to fit. But what a great podcast show it is as well. Nick and I had the, it was just amazing. I haven't done many podcasts. I've done a few over time, but Nick and I joined you last week to film a podcast with you. And actually, you called us Looby and Bell. So on the Breakfast Show, we were talking with you about the Breakfast Show and what's coming and stuff. And wow, it was absolutely great fun. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and the podcast is awesome.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, and it's one of those things that it grows, like you'll find with this show as well. It kind of grows organically, and you sort of pick up ideas and things along the way. But no, I'm very lucky. We've got a good team of people behind it as well. My wife and co-producer Donna, the fabulous Jeremy Davies, always supplies a little comedy monologue, something to do with new business at the very start of it. And Matt Smith, who does all the kind of IT and hosting and stuff like that in downtown Indianapolis. So yeah, it's a good team of people, and I enjoy working with them. It's good fun. It's a nice collaborative job.
You can tell you enjoy it, because the fun just kind of exudes across the airwaves. Great fun being a guest, great fun kind of listening back, and great fun listening to all the other episodes. Learned so much, like a good conversation should. It should be massively informative, but fun too.
Yeah, and I mean, it was funny watching that compilation you played at the top of the show, because it was it's nice to sort of reminisce on sort of previous guests and stuff, and there was the sort of really nice to see some sort of familiar faces there, and sort of thanks to everybody for who's been a guest, and to help us get off the ground, because it was it's great fun. But that's the whole thing. It's like, these are just conversations. This is and it's good fun to be able to obviously to record them, but and to be able to listen back, because people have got such amazing stories and some great words of wisdom and some gems, and I've learned more in the last 18 months than I've done over the last 50 years. So it's been quite a journey.
And I think part of that, and David and I have experienced the same thing, right? Pandemic hit. What else are we going to do? How do we turn our minds to other creative ways to generate business? And that kind of your whole philosophy about being agile. I need to ask a few questions about how the Advertist actually works. And I'm very mindful, and our audience are mindful, to get on with a business chat, right?
Funny enough, you mentioned that. Elton, put that there. I'm enjoying the show, although you're not talking about business. Well, Elton, we do talk about business, but we like to find out about the person behind the business. That's the important part.
Generally about people. But I think that your philosophy of agile, keep moving, don't put all your eggs in one basket, kind of rings true, right? Because we've all had to do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I know it sounds like scary language and stuff, but I mean, I like to look at it as kind of prepping for, as a business person, because you never know what's coming around the corner. I mean, one of the things that we learned from this pandemic has been that, us at the bottom of the food chain, we're always the last to know when something's going to happen. So, if you sit around and wait for the government's advice, you'll find yourself going under pretty quickly. So, the point about what the Advertist does and what the Fuel podcast does as well is that, we help businesses to prepare by, showing them sort of interesting areas that they can investigate for, ways to find new clients, sort of areas that are becoming popular. Sort of where there are opportunities, all that sort of thing. I mean, the Advertist itself is full of things like, every day we put up fresh people moves, people that have changed jobs and where they're going to and all that sort of stuff. And we highlight all the tenders. Is this too businessy? I don't know. Are we getting too detailed?
No, it sounds like you've got, it's the finger on the pulse of that industry.
It's about agencies, especially, I mean, because that's my sort of specialty, that's my area of specialty, but it's about them sort of just being prepared, because, the thing is, if you sit and wait for something, until something happens and then start to try and find new clients and things like that, you've got a 6-month lag. So the whole idea of what we do is to provide an environment where agencies can check out new, sort of new opportunities and stuff, and build themselves a kind of a hot to lukewarm prospect list of opportunities, so that if something does happen, you can then start to sort of spread the load rather than have it all come down into one area. Because, the way the economy is going at the moment, I don't see an end to this for the next, for another couple of years at least, until things start to straighten out. So, it's an idea for agencies, for marketing, PR, digital advertising agencies to have some other sort of tools in the box to be able to, to sort of to help reinforce the business, because you just don't know what's coming down. So it's a great idea to have those conversations, get going, start doing things like, preparing content like you guys are doing here, or, thought leadership, or just, having conversations with people. I think that's, it's important to keep doing it and never stop prospecting for new business.
I do.
What a good. Sorry, Nick.
Go on, David. Go on. Someone's to ask.
Be my guest. No. Okay. So, hello, Nick's mum. Morning, Nick's mum. She's a regular person that joins the show. Pop the comments in the chat box. So, Keith, new business is absolutely vital for survival. And that's one of the things that you talk about. What could business owners do? Let's talk about SMEs, typically small to medium-sized enterprises. What could they do to find new business? What is one of the best ways of going out there and just having a look around and attracting new audiences and listeners and viewers, and hopefully prospects turn into customers?
Well, I think, with all the technology that we've got now, it's, back in the day when I first started, doing new business for agencies, the only tool you really had was the telephone, now you've got so many different channels that you can use, anything from social media through to what we're doing now, the broadcasting, or, podcasting, thought leadership, white papers, all that sort of stuff. But using social media, all the kind of channels, they're all different ways to be able to engage with new prospects, because, you're no longer restricted to having to wait until between the hours of 9 and 5 to engage with a prospect. Nowadays, we're in a 24/7 world. So, you're able to, find out what people are doing on social media, where the trends are, talk about things that are meaningful to you, to create a kind of a personal brand online, so that people start to identify you with say for example, if your agency was targeting the healthcare sector, if you've got some valuable thoughts and comments to talk about in the healthcare sector, then you've got several different channels that you can use to get those messages out there, so that people understand that what you're talking about. But it's always vital to just keep going with new business, to never stop. Just spend a couple of hours a week, or whatever, just looking at new prospects, looking at how you can do it, because it's an insurance. It's you're doing your business the service that it needs by being able to have those conversations, so that should anything happen, you've got other clients to go to. We get a lot of people a lot of clients come to us who, the first thing that everybody says is, referrals and recommendations. Of course, absolutely, it's the best way. When you've got clients talking about how good your services are and stuff like that, absolutely. But the problem with that is that limits and restricts your ability as a company to innovate, because you're doing the same jobs for the same sorts of people, and it's almost like an echo chamber. So you always need to, like any business, you need to have a portion of your time set for R&D and innovation, so that should anything, you're always looking at other projects and new prospects and things like that, in order to to shoot forward. If you project forward a couple of years, where you're going to be, what you're going to be doing, what markets you're going to be talking to, and looking at it that way. So, a lot of new business is very much about, sort of the future direction of your business, and sort of where that, because these conversations take a long time. These sort of relationships take a while to come to fruition.
And it does come from a lot of the podcasts. That the future is one where creativity, we should really grab that.
Yes,
and maximize where that potentially can take us. Another massive thing that we learned over the last 18 months, you can work from anywhere, right? It doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter, as long as you've got some tech, you can set up and work from anywhere. And you've taken this to the nth degree, Keith.
Yes, that is Roman. I know it says on the side swinger, but I'm pleased to tell you that I spent the weekend removing all those decals. So now it's a house with no name. But yeah, that's our next new office. Our business has always been set up to work remotely. We have a small team, but and we used to get together sort of once, twice a week, whatever, in an office. But since the pandemic, we've all realized that it's actually totally possible for us to work remotely and comfortably, being able to share documents, conversations, work under, through Teams, all that sort of stuff. And so we were looking at the problem that we had, as I alluded to at the very start of this, is that with the Advertist and with the podcast, this is a 7-day-a-week job. So we weren't getting any sort of personal time. And so we decided that instead of sort of trying to carve out a little bit of extra time and do less work, we could work twice as hard if we sort of took the office to the great outdoors. So, and there's a massive, over here in the States, there's about 5 million people do this. It's called nomads. All right. And these people are, they're digital nomads. And I think there's about 1 million who actually run full time their business from RVs and motorhomes and stuff like that. But it's totally possible to do this now. And there is, you can have full broadband on the road. And even if you're what they call boondocking, which is where you're just surviving on what you've got in the motorhome, so a generator and onboard water, all that sort of stuff, So yeah, obviously it's it's a great project to do, to try and renovate an RV. It's a 1993 7.8 liter Chevy. It's a truck engine. And with a big house on the back, basically, and but it's got everything on board. It's got generators, Wi-Fi, water, shower, bed, the whole lot. It's fantastic. So
podcast studio,
podcast studio, yeah, absolutely.
Nick did ask at the beginning of the show before we brought you on. He was talking about petrol prices.
Oh yeah,
over here in the UK. Now, here's an interesting one actually. Petrol's a lot cheaper, or sorry, gas is a lot cheaper over in the USA. What are you paying per gallon?
Well, it works. It's about $3 a gallon, so that's about £2 a gallon.
So it's about, we're talking about 30 pence ish. No, a bit more than that. 40 pence a litre.
I don't know. Math is my strong point, but yeah, something along those lines. But
how far do you get in that? I mean, that's a big old beast. 7 litres
to the bottom of the road. That's it. You got to refill. Surely.
We get about 9 gallons to 9 miles to the gallon out of it.
Miles to the gallon.
It's
Most
got
expensive studio.
It's got a 60-gallon tank.
So if anyone's listening, Keith is looking for an electric RV. It's going to be a lot cheaper to run than a 7-litre Gazella.
It's a nice thing to drive, actually. It's a very comfortable drive, and
yeah, it looks great inside. Look, all the mod cons
stripped out. That's the stripped out bit. But as you can see, it's got a working kitchen. To the left there is where the office is situated. That's where we're going to put desks and computers and everything. So yeah, and it's very comfortable, and it's lovely to lay in when it's raining, because you can hear the rain pitter-pattering, and it takes you back to the days when you were a kid camping in a tent.
Thinking time, isn't it? You know, some people will call me off for using this expression, but masterminding, blue sky thinking, you know, getting creative, sometimes just sitting back, listening, as you use the words, the patter on the roof of the raindrops, being middle of nowhere as well, watching the world go by gives you that amazing thinking time, which we all need to do in our businesses. We all need that time out to think about what we need to be doing going forwards.
That's what we're going to be doing now. Is that it gives us the flexibility to be able to say, okay, well, look, from Monday to Wednesday we'll work sort of within the office environment, and then come Wednesday we'll just head off out and put 50 miles of road between us and the office, and then just park up somewhere and carry on. So it's perfectly possible to do this now with all the technology. So why not take advantage of it? And it helps us stay nimble and agile and be able to, if anything does happen in terms of, sort of anything like another pandemic comes along or whatever, lockdown, we're still able to move around. So I think that's the most important thing, is to be able to, stay flexible. And that's been an important lesson through the last sort of 18 months.
It sounds like, right? And great feedback coming in, Keith. Right? Thank you very much, Jack.
Jack,
big thumbs up from Jack for the Advertist. And it sounds like you're just living the life true to your beliefs, right? You've said life's about making memorable moments on a daily basis. And I always kind of look at the world, look at life, look at businesses. Right, where are the adventures to be had? And it sounds like you're living those adventures, my friend.
Well, I think you get to a certain age, and I am at a certain age where.
What age is that?
Well, it's a very, very young, early 50s.
Perfect. Yeah, lovely.
But it basically, it means that you kind of you take a look back and you take stock of everything, and you sort of think, well, okay, so what are we going to be doing in the next 10 years? In 10 years' time, what do we want to do? So, I mean, the great thing about this way of living and working is that, depending on whether we want to stay in the US or whether we want to move to the UK or whatever, you can do the same thing. You can do this in the UK. That's the great thing. And I've got my aunt, she's threatening to do a very similar thing, and just go and land in people's driveways and hook up and just stay in an RV in somebody's driveway. I mean, why not?
Why not? Elton's put, thanks Elton for the good feedback. Really interesting, chaps. I've never heard of the business nomad. So Elton, joining this show this morning, you've now got some great value. You can look more about the nomad world, the digital nomads, and maybe never know, Keith. Elton might invest in an RV. It will do more than 9 miles to the gallon, I'm sure of that. And he will pay probably £1.43 a litre for his fuel for it.
I mean, some of the new RVs that come out that have come out are fantastic. I think Mercedes does a really nice one as well, new one. But they're very compact. I mean, ours is a 1993, but I mean, the sort of 2010, 2020 models that are coming out are just fantastic. They've got pull down day beds, all that sort of stuff, and it's good fun. It just gives you another perspective on, instead of being tied to the office, one small office, and a lot of people are working from home, stuck in the same room that they sometimes cook in or watch TV in and stuff like that, that this gives you the flexibility to, instead of paying extra for an extension or a new office or whatever, invest in an RV, see if you can get out and about.
It certainly gives you a new perspective, right?
Yeah.
We talk about that in business a lot. You kind of think differently, new perspective. You're going to have one every time you look out the window.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And it's important. I think, that's the whole point, is to, it keeps you fresh, and it keeps your sort of mind. And plus, you learn a few, even though the RV itself doesn't, is not very economical as far as gas is concerned, or petrol, but the idea of, you're very, very mindful of everything you plug in, is sort of your water consumption, what your food is. I mean, you can't take an entire refrigerator with you. You have to take, a few essentials with you, and you have to learn to make do with those sorts of things while you're on the move. So, there is an element of sort of preparedness and sort of prepping to what you do, because I mean, I'm learning all sorts of new skills, like how to cook on a campfire stove, how to cook one pot meals, all that sort of stuff. It's great fun. It's a whole new learning experience.
It's a mindset shift, isn't it? Like a lot of business, you got to shift your mindset, and good things potentially follow. I know.
Be agile.
I'm mindful, Keith. The time, as always, well against us.
So, Keith, just to kind of sum up, if people want to get in, firstly, I'm going to pop out there the Fuel podcast. So, if people want to listen to the amazing podcasts that you are creating, certainly last week's one, it was absolutely awesome. It's a great listen. But yeah, do go to the Fuel podcast. I'm going to put all Keith's details into the chat in a minute for those that are joining us from LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, and you'll better get all Keith's details. But reach out to Keith. Keith, one last word of wisdom from you, one top business tip to share with our listeners and viewers this morning. Any one thing in business that you could do to tell others to do, what would it be?
Never stop looking for your next new client. I think that's an important thing to bear in mind, is that, you never know what's on the horizon. So stay prepared, stay agile, and just be mindful that of where your company's going to be in 2 to 3 years' time, and look for the clients that are going to take you there.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Mr. Keith Smith from the Fuel podcast and the Advertist, it's been, as always, a pleasure to have you here. Good morning to you. You are now waking up at what we're talking 5, no, not even there. They're 3:38 in the morning for you.
Halfway through my day.
Keith, thanks for joining us. We're going to pop you back in the green room. We will catch up with you in the not too distant future. What a pleasure. Thank you very much, Keith. Well, Nick, what a great show to get us going this morning. Keith's just a fantastic,
mate. Fresh thinking. I love it. I know his podcast's full of creativity, fresh way of thinking, and great advice, right? Look ahead. Where you're going, right? Just like driving a big RV. Look into the future as much as you can. Where are you going? Where's your next client coming from? What are you doing? Be creative, right? And look where the technology's taking you. Look where the market's taking you. Be as informed as possible. And I guess if we're smart, we've never been more informed. Right? Drowning in content to the point where, right, we've never been so informed in theory. Thanks, Jack. We should get Jack on the show, right? People who love the show, we should get them on. Tell us about your business. What do you do? right, chat.
Absolutely. And before we bring our next guest on, who's sitting patiently backstage, if you want to come on the show, you can go to chatboxproductions.com and you can put your details in there to register to come on the show. A quick survey takes you 5 or 6 minutes. Tell us what you do, who you are, why you do it, something exciting that's happened in your life, or maybe something that hasn't happened in your life that's that exciting. Either or, we'll be intrigued to know. And let's get you on the show and have a chat with you. We're looking for people for September onwards. We're totally full for the month of August, but for September onwards, we do have some spaces and availability. And the late night show is coming soon as well. So we will be broadcasting one evening each week and talking about this, that, and everything. So look out for that. More information following in the next week or two. Nick, it's time for a very, very quick ad break. But when we come back, let's bring our next guest on the show. Okay, there we go. Thank you to Feet on the Ground. If you wish to sponsor our shows, our evening show, our breakfast show, then get in touch. We will absolutely welcome the conversation. If you're an electric car company, I will give you a very great deal if you do something for me. Right, okay, enough twaddle and waddle. Let's invite our next guest on the show. We're going from North America, 3:30 in the morning, to South Africa, which is an hour in front of us. Let's welcome our next guest to the show, Debbie Whittaker. Good morning, Debbie, and welcome.
Morning. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Nick. And hello to all your viewers.
Yeah, good morning. Great to have you here. We're going to learn a little bit more about Coolcumba Communications, what it is that you do. But let's kind of dive in. Let's find out a little bit more about Debbie. Now, Debbie, I met you, I don't know, 10, 11 months ago, maybe 12 months ago. Let's go for a year, where we were introduced for a mutual friend and business. And your business is all about PR and marketing, events and promotion. But tell us a little bit more how you got started in business and how Coolcumba come around.
Well, thanks, Dave. Well, I suppose I should start at the beginning then. I'm Joburg, South African, proudly South African, spent my life in Johannesburg. And the reason I'm going back to the beginning is because I studied a sports science degree and majored in mathematics. So I've never studied marketing and PR, which is a message that I want to give to people. Because, and since then, I was a teacher. I was a high school maths teacher, sports coach, phys ed teacher. Had many careers in my time, from market research to I was probably one of the first internet analysts back in, now I'm giving away my age, 1999. I think I started as an internet, or at 98 as an internet analyst in South Africa. And then I did quite a lot of change management consulting, and the company that I was working for at the time asked me to re-engineer the marketing department, and the rest is history. I grabbed marketing with open arms, absolutely love it because it taps into the right brain, Dave. And from then I was asked to head up the marketing department of a company called digitalplanet.co.za. So I've been through the .com, the .bomb, and now the .boom. And once I had worked there and had to build a digital community from scratch, basically trying new ideas, I was then equipped to go on my own. So Coolcumba was born in March 2001. So that's just over 20 years ago. So that's how I am. That's how I've got to where I am today.
20 years of communicating, Debs. What a journey that must have been, right? How different is communicating now, let's say in a marketing perspective, PR perspective, than it was 20 years ago? I've been running my training company not quite 20 years. Things have changed, and you're a massive digital advocate. I need be digital or be dead. This is you, isn't it?
Yeah, well, digital has to be in your DNA, and I think it's always been there. It's always been a requirement. Look, in terms of communication, I still firmly believe in traditional marketing, the good old-fashioned way of doing business. You know, business acumen, writing the Queen's English, one-to-one. Nothing beats one-to-one. And at the end of the day, people do business with people. So let's not forget about that. But where digital is so empowering and exciting is that while traditional, I would say, is pretty much one-to-one, you've got the digital, which gives you the one-to-many. It gives you that reach. It gives you the backup and support, which when you use them together and you integrate the two, you've got an integrated marketing communication strategy. So I wouldn't say much has changed, because I think people have changed. Adoption of different technologies have changed. As you say, we don't work 9 to 5 anymore. We're always on. So I think we've just become more flexible, more mobile, more available. Which I find exciting. And the beauty of digital is it's dynamic. So if you have an idea and you want to go to market, it's not fixed in a print publication. If you want to change something or you've made a typo, you can change it.
And let's be honest, Debbie, in South Africa, you have to be kind of digital nomads, flexible, work from anywhere, because you spend all your time sitting in wine farms, testing out the great treats of South Africa, and then what you do, you ship all over the red and white wine to the UK that no one wants to drink there. It's the kind of the bad stuff, and it doesn't. We're talking wine here, I know, but honestly, I've spent some great time in wine farms in South Africa, and it is like a wine tour from one farm to another, trying to work on your phone, keeping your clients happy. But that is kind of your culture there. It is very, very social, isn't it? Everything's done face to face quite often. I know digital plays a big part, but pretty much no deal is ever done unless you're sitting in front of that person, probably sharing a bottle of wine or a great steak or something like that.
Absolutely, Dave. Actually, when Keith was talking, I was thinking, I'm not a digital nomad, I'm a digital go-mad. And the grape, as we call it, is amazing because it helps me tap into my right brain. So I've come up with many an idea and concept after consuming a bit of grape. But South Africans are really special in the work environment. It's all about relationships and building trust. And although digital has obviously, the pandemic has forced us to connect online. I mean, Dave, you and I are now, I feel like I've known you for years and we've met online. But South Africans do business on the golf course as well. We are sports fanatics. We lovers of life, outdoors. So yes, we do like to, or I think aspire to having balance, really. And during these digital times, it's stressful. So you need a break. You need some fresh air. You need some vitamin D. So you've got to be in the sunlight. So it's all about balance.
How did people cope in the pandemic, Deb? So certainly here in the UK, right, my whole business was face-to-face orientated, and then our gracious leaders said, right, that's it, get home and don't leave. Lockdown was a massive change. How did people get on?
I think first of all, remote working became the go-to. So I saw, and luckily our information's always been in the cloud, but there was that massive drive to getting your data into the cloud and data security and making sure all your staff have got the right tools so that there's no downtime. So I saw that being a massive first step. I consult to small clients and large clients. Obviously, the small clients, they could turn it around quite efficiently and effectively. The large clients, I believe, we did step in and they've been amazing in looking after their staff, sending them packs delivered to their homes, to keep them motivated. I know that our clients ask us sometimes, do you have a contact for an online comedian to sort out the staff morale? So I've felt that a lot of the movement has been towards the emotional quotient, that business decision makers and owners have really come to the fore in terms of that emotional side and the compassion. And I have felt that in business. Before, I would sit in a meeting and not quite know what the vibe was going to be, but I have felt since the pandemic, it's a lot softer, it's a lot more humane. We're people, and we're all dodging bullets all the time. And somebody termed a phrase pirouetting, not pivoting, but pirouetting.
Pirouetting, yeah.
Pirouetting, and I think that's what we've all been doing. Some better than others. But a lot of positive has come out of it as well. I think people, commuting is a big thing in South Africa, and a lot of people have been able to lay their roots in the location of choice, and I think that's been a lot more settling. So that's been a positive, certainly for me.
No, absolutely. Now you have a great team around you. I'm going to pop this picture on the screen here. Yourself there, Debs, and one of your team members, and I believe your business partner as well, who keeps everything running alongside you.
Yes, that's Bianca Chinsami, and Bianca's based in Johannesburg, and I'm based in Cape Town. But we basically are online, global.
Bianca is here actually backstage in the green room. She hasn't got her camera on. Hopefully she can hear me. Bianca, would you like to come on the show and just say hello? You haven't got to do too much, but can I persuade you to turn your camera on and come and join us in the live stream?
I'll be sitting there going, if you'd said, I would have done my hair. In my pajamas.
Absolutely fine.
So Debs, I'm fascinated, right? I'm fascinated. So I'm not. I'm not anti-technology. People accuse me of being anti-technology. I'm certainly not. I want to embrace tech to enable more human. But you are definitely kind of at the cutting edge, the driving force of what digital can do for a business. What's next? All right, let us into a few secrets. What apps or platforms should we be looking at right now to enhance our message?
Well, thanks, Nick. I wouldn't say I'm a tech guru by any means, and I pretty much, my mission is to understand my clients' businesses and their requirements. So the communications channels is very unique to each client.
Okay.
So basically, the message that I want to give is sales and marketing is converged. That's a fact. When you're marketing, you're selling. When you're selling, you're marketing. And you basically have 3 seconds to get the attention now of the eyeball. So whatever channel that is, you need to know the eyeballs. You need to know where your audience is. So they also dictate your technology communications medium. So I don't have a solution to say going forward. What I do feel is that content, authentic content, and the way you package it is key. Short, sweet, to the point, hit the sweet spot, hit the business pain, and whether that be YouTube, whether that be webinar, whether that be sending someone a personalized gift, mixing the traditional with the online. I think digital is really just a philosophy. It's a philosophy. It's a way we now live. But you can have the competitive edge by mixing it up with traditional. So I would say personally, still pick up the phone. I know Keith said, he started off by picking up the phone. I still believe in picking up the phone. But then I also believe in what we're doing today, podcasts, webinars, hybrid events. Love them. I hope that answers your question.
It does. I love the fact it's authentic content. I shouldn't be shocked that we've got 3 seconds to catch the eyeballs. So, and these eyeballs are always on. Right? So it's got to be pretty good stuff to catch the attention. You can't faff around, straight into what kind of what your audience are interested in.
Yeah. So David Bancroft put earlier, just after Keith finished, great tips. Never stop looking for your new client. And I know that's something you're absolutely talking about as well, Debbie, is never stop looking for that new client. What tips would you recommend if you're looking to bring on board new customers, reach out to new prospects? What top tips would you do? Obviously, let's talk more about the marketing, the digital side. I think that's the area that your expertise lies in. What would you be suggesting to our listeners and viewers they could be doing?
For sure. So if you've got existing customers, look after them like gold. Your existing customers are everything. And I'm so grateful to my clients. I am who I am today, and the business is where it is today because of my clients. So if existing clients come first, don't forget about your tribe. You've got to have a solid tribe. You've got to have backup and support because you're only as good as your last job. So in terms of looking for new business, it's still one-to-one, it's personal, it's picking up the phone, it's showing compassion, it's checking in, how are you, how can I help? And then, as I said, alongside, do make use of digital, do make use of social media channels. I walk my talk. LinkedIn has saved my business. Get out there. I've actually made it a KPI. So Bianca is under the whip when it comes to growing her social media networks. It works. And you have to be seen. So that is important. And I'm a big fan of Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, all the socials. And also get it right the first time, because if you do, and it's social selling, don't have a hardcore selling approach online. It annoys people. So understand their business, social sell, and get it right the first time. Get your messaging and your destination points when they start engaging, and you need to what's the word?
Convert.
Thank you. When you need to convert, it must be done right first time. The trust must be there, the references, the history. So looking for new clients, it's a process. And remember, your customers are actually your best advertisers. So if you get it right, your customers will spread word of mouth. So don't forget about getting your reviews and your references out there, because they actually sell for you. So that would be my advice.
And as always, Debbie, the clock is ticking down. We've got about a minute to go to kind of wrap things up. Now, if people are interested in finding out more about what you do, what's the best way to get in touch with you? I've got the website, which I've put on the screen. Is that the best way? Do you have an email address? Maybe they want to connect with you on LinkedIn, because let's be honest, that's a great platform, as you're suggesting.
Yes, do LinkedIn, Debs Whittaker, and then debbiew@coolcumba.com.
Brilliant. There we go. So if you want to find out more about Coolcumba and what Debbie does and how she can help you, then do get in touch. Debbie will be waiting for your call, your email, your LinkedIn connection. And this is the great thing about our show. We are connecting the dots. We are bringing people together from all over the world. And I suppose the last thing I'm going to say, Debbie, there is no boundaries. You know, this is the great thing about the digital world. We are, as Nick said, it's a very small world when we're connected online. And you're a great advocate of that, I know.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Debbie. Great to see you. No doubt we'll get you back on the show for some more top tips in the future. Nick, well, the time's running out again. This is the problem.
I don't know what we're doing. But that's one of the issues, right? We're surrounded by great content, loads of opportunities, and quite rightly so. I guess quite rightly so. Have a look where you're going. Always keep prospecting. Keep the communication going. But time, right? We haven't got any more time. We're surrounded by stuff, drowning in stuff almost, but we haven't got more time to work through that. And oddly enough, right? Today, I love a good what is the national day today.
What is it? Come on, tell us.
There's a few different days, but one of which is Blogger Day. Okay, based on the original blogging platform, launched in 1999. Okay, then it was bought by Google, and it raises the question. Okay, so that was 1999, right? 2000, blogging was the thing. Okay, and people used to write blogs. I guess people used to read them, a long form kind of written piece, but we've moved on. I don't know if any of our lovely listeners are still blogging and if they've actually got a good, healthy blogging audience, but we've evolved, haven't we? We've evolved to live broadcasts, podcasts, and other stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I ask an audience, be it business or students studying business, etc. When was the last time that you read a blog? And I don't mean, something or, the news or something like that. I mean a blog on someone's website. When was the last time you really read a detailed blog? And lots of them say, well, I haven't for a long time. I say, well, in the last week. When's the last time you read one in the last week? And you get the odd hand that pops up. Then I turn around and say, okay, when was the last time you watched a video? Be it on Facebook, not Netflix, doesn't count. Okay, we're not talking about movies here. We're talking about a video content. Netflix is not part of it, nor is Amazon Prime, but the likes of Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. And guess what? I say in the last 12 hours, and every hand in the room goes up. And it just demonstrates that video content, audio content, like Keith was putting together podcasts, conversational pieces, are the way forward. People are engaging. Do you lay in bed at night, Nick? I know you're, kind of a little bit anti-digital, and stuff like that. But do you sit there sometimes with your phone, scrolling down, seeing what's happening, maybe watching a video with no volume, so you're watching the subtitles, quite like LinkedIn and Facebook are doing now, adding the subtitles. We've experienced that, haven't we? When it removes
Very
content.
smart. Very smart subtitles going on the platforms. I'm not anti-digital. I guess I hark back to a more kind of human connection in the way that we communicate. But yeah, I can't remember the last time I read a blog, but I can tell you quite easily last time I listened to a podcast or more and watched a video. And if Debs is right, and we got 3 seconds to grab someone's eyeballs, wow, your first sentence in a blog must be Judy Pickle amazing, right? It's got to be phenomenal, but you're more likely to grab someone's attention in the first 3 seconds of your video or your podcast.
Absolutely. So there we go. So blogging versus vlogging, video creation against text creation. I'm not saying, by the way, we should not read any longer, but I know there's people out there saying that, reading's a thing of the past. I'm not anti-reading, of course not, but we are watching so much more online digital type content and listening as well as watching. Nick, that's all we've got time for. We've reached the end of the show.
No, more time. I hear screen time is up. I read a report this morning. Screen time is going up and up and up and up. More people are devoting time in front of their screens. Ironically, a lovely Getty's image was applied to the piece, and it showed an idyllic family scene, 2 parents, 2 kids in front of TV. I think our screen time is going up, but that idyllic image is disappearing.
Yeah. So there we go. More screen time is required if you want to watch this show. We're back next Thursday morning from 8 a.m. That's British summertime. If you're tuning in from the USA, you're up as early as Keith. Good morning and welcome. If you're watching this on catch up, thanks for watching it. Thank you for Debbie, Keith this morning. Been great to have you on the show. Watch us next week. Tune in from 8 o'clock in the morning. And if you also want to be on the show, go to the website and fill in the application form. It'd be great to get you here and have a conversation with you. Until next week, it's goodbye from me, David Bell.
Already looking forward to next week. Goodbye from Nick Looby.